Yo quiero pedir que mi negra me quiera, que tenga dinero y que no se muera. Ah, yo le quiero pedir a Babalu, una negra bembona como tú, que no tenga afro negro, ah, que no se muera. ¡Ea! ¡Caballo! ¡Suave!
And that was a clip of Desi Arnaz, famously or most known for being the husband in I Love Lucy.
It's that fiery redhead.
This is Movies, a podcast. This is Brenda.
Rob.
Curtis.
And Jordan.
I'm back after a little break. I was a little sicky poo, so I hope you guys didn't miss me too much.
Deathbed.
Oh, we missed you, Brenda.
We did miss you.
I missed you guys too. I went through withdrawal.
Oh,
Jenny did a great job though when she was
I
here.
know that was another reason I was so bummed. You know, I love Jenny, and it was our first guest, and I was like, I can't believe I'm missing this, but I was dying.
I suggested we set you up in a corner, but you didn't want to do it.
I would have been like, I love it. You know, like it wouldn't have been sexy at all.
Yes,
you know, our podcast is all about sexy.
We're known for our sexy.
People are at home
We're setting a
touching
standard.
themselves inappropriately.
to our
thinking about
soothing
us.
voices.
Just as we are as we record.
I'm completely touching myself right now.
So what have you guys been up to besides touching yourself?
Is there anything else?
What else does one need?
I go to work and touch myself.
I was recently sick myself. I had
For touching yourself?
walking pneumonia because I'm like that.
Did you get it from Brenda?
I didn't. I got it from not taking care of myself. But the good thing about being sick is that you get to watch a lot of Netflix. So I was able to really kind of go through a lot of movies that I've been wanting to see. I watched 2 coming-of-age films. One is a Belgian film called North Sea, Texas, which was bleak yet beautiful. And the other was Submarine, which is a Welsh film.
I like that movie.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, and it's directed by Richard.
Ayoade.
Thank you. Who I love. And
Fact check.
it was really quirky and fun. Of the 2, I liked Submarine better. I think it's interesting in European films, you can't tell what year it's taking place because
We talked about this that night.
all the boys have shaggy hair like they do now and in 1982. And everyone's house looks like IKEA, so I don't know. Is it vintage or is it
Was it
retro?
a retro movie?
I remember. I think it takes place in 1960 or in the 60s.
Well, Submarine takes place in 86.
Okay.
Which I had to look up. I couldn't figure it out the entire time because all European cars look like 1979 Yugos.
Right.
And then North Sea, Texas, I still have no idea what year it took place. No one had a cell phone, so I'm just going to assume 1974.
2002.
Or 2002. Who knows?
Well, that's how I felt when I watched Perks of Being a Wallflower. It didn't dawn on me till the end of the movie that was set in the 80s.
Yeah, it was
It
like
was?
Is it
91.
80s or 90s? 90s.
It was like 91.
Yeah.
The book is set in 91.
Yeah, I did. None of that hit me until the
It
end
was
of
in
the film.
1897.
I don't know if anybody noticed, but Dan didn't introduce himself.
Dan's not here today.
Who's? Oh, is this Pablo?
That is
Is-
our... Yes, that is my friend from Colombia.
He went to Columbia?
Now he's back.
Hey, really quick. Hi, this is Dan. Can you talk into that mic one more time?
Yes.
No.
No, me?
Just one more time?
Me?
Huh. That is a...
I'm talking into the
I'm just going to bring this show to a complete stop. Hi, guys. How you doing? You weren't being picked up on the mic. I'm sorry about that.
I'm sorry, I'll get closer to
Can't get picked up anywhere in
want
a
us to
bar
start
or
over?
a mic. What the?
I get picked up plenty, mother.
At the corner store.
Don't worry
From
about
the
it.
methadone clinic.
Yeah,
From
I
your
get-
Method 1 acting class.
If that show were funny, then that would be
That's
funny.
true.
Yeah.
I'm funnier than the rest
Dan
of them.
lied to us last podcast and said the show gets better.
It does not.
It exceedingly gets worse.
I think you just get used to it, like the way that people in concentration camps could write poetry. Like you just, you adjust to where you are.
I've had relationships like that.
I had Stockholm syndrome with Arrested Development.
It's not good.
Well, Dan, with your advice, I haven't gotten to the point where it connects, but it's just it's really boring. The show.
I would
Yeah.
literally be bored on my break, and I'm like, I guess I'll watch Arrested Development, and I'd be falling asleep. I'm like, it's not funny.
Mm-mm.
So I instead decided to watched Life of Pi, which I'd never seen.
Oh, what'd you think?
That's a real picker-upper.
I know. I feel like I'm missing a piece because it didn't connect with me.
Did you make a pun?
A piece of the pie. I'm so smart.
I like even do it accidentally.
I like how we had to piece it back to peace pie.
Piece my mind. Yeah, it didn't. It's beautiful to look at, but I mean, because I'm religious or emotionally retarded. When I got to the end, and he's like, "It could have been real. It could have been fake," and I said, "What the? Is it real? Is it fake?" It didn't dawn on me the movie is about faith, which I have little to none, and so I believed what I was given, and that was kind of interesting.
But even that, I was kind of the same way with that film. I bought it as the story was being told. When he gave you that alternate reality of it was these people represented this, it could have gone either way for me. For me, the story of the struggle that character went through, the time that he spent with Richard Parker, I think I took it on the surface the way you sold it. To me, it was about closure. That's what the movie was for me. It was, you had when he lost his family and when Richard Parker finally got off the beach. It's just he had these life-changing moments that happened to him, and he didn't get the chance to have closure to either of those. That's what I took away from it. It wasn't religious or faith for me. It was just.
But his family didn't drown. I mean, you're led to believe his mom was in the boat.
Is this a spoiler alert moment?
Yeah, because some of us haven't seen it.
Shit. Well, not really.
Can we make a note that I put an edit right there and say spoiler alert?
No.
Spoil it.
Please.
In the crying game, it's a man.
Dumbledore dies.
It's Kevin Spacey all along.
It made over. He's my lover.
He was a ghost the whole time.
Million. People have seen it, but it was beautiful. Ang Lee totally deserved to win that Oscar out of the people that were nominated. Sorry, Ben Affleck, but it just didn't connect with me. It was really, really good though. I would say. Not for me.
Well, in the world of Netflix, since I was so bored with Arrested Developments, I started watching a little show called Bob's Burgers, and
love that
love
show.
that you're watching that.
I've never seen it, but
that
It's
show.
amazing. Yeah.
I'm in season 2 now of the show, and the line that sold me, and I told you, the line. The line is
spoiler alert.
When Louise is telling his big sister, it's like, what does she say? She's like, I want you to kiss that boy so hard that the babies come out with hickeys. It's like, that line's amazing.
I'm going to have to check it out.
It's 22 minutes per show. You'll blow through it, and you'll love it. It's an adorable show.
Archer's season premiere did a spoof of Bob's Burgers at the beginning.
Well, the lead guy who does the vocals for Archer also does the.
I think it's H. John Benjamin or John H.
John H. Benjamin.
Benjamin. Yeah.
Yeah, he also had a show. John has a van.
Yeah.
He does a good voice. Like, I would never guess that he was those two characters.
Tomorrow when you hang out with me, Curtis, in between Mad Men episodes, I'll show you some Bob's Burgers.
I'm catching up on Mad Men, and I just want to say, if you don't watch that show, something is wrong with you. It is the best show that you can't relate to. like I've said this to friends before. Like,
with the most unsympathetic characters ever. Every character is so flawed. That's why nobody trusts
Bob Benson, is because I know he has a secret, but he's so nice.
Yeah.
He's always doing things nice, and you're like, I don't trust him. What is it? And you realize everyone is so fucked up, and he's like the nice guy. But Sex and the City, 6 Feet Under, I love those shows. You can relate to those characters. Blah blah. blah. Mad Men, I want to keep going.
No,
I don't like any of them.
But you
made
made that point yesterday, and we were talking that Mad Men, when something pivotal happens, they don't make a big to do about it. It just happens. And the subtlety of these game changer, sequences that you're just like, you have to rewind and rewatch it because you can't believe that just happened. That situation with Joan and the Jaguar and all that. It just happens, and it's part of the story, and it keeps going along. But they don't make it. The show never has cliffhangers, and it never ends with like this grand season finale. It just ends.
It never has special moments.
When they do a really good job, they're very subtle about certain things. Like, I read one of the blogs that I read about it. They pointed out that characters repeat outfits because real people repeat outfits. and it was all about the fashion of men, and it's just those subtle little intricacies that they do. Like Joan rocks the same silhouette because that's what real people do. They find a silhouette that works, and they do it in 19 different colors. And they talked about certain things they'll do, like when Jackie Kennedy made a really popular hat style popular. They don't talk about it in the show, but that episode you'll see a lot of women wearing that hat because that was what Jackie O was wearing.
Oh, I read that they even find out what the weather was, and they know what date it is.
Yeah.
And because when I was watching the Martin Luther King assassination episode, they knew the weather. They knew what happened that night. I looked it up. It was my birthday. So they went down to like the details. So sometimes it'll be raining, but rain has nothing to do with the plot, but they have it raining because it was raining.
Because it was raining that day.
It's crazy to me.
Yeah, they really do a great job.
I never knew that. I'd kind of fallen off, I think, in the third or fourth season, but I did love the show, especially, as a woman now in the modern age, seeing what we had to go through and how we have it now. We still have some struggles now, but just nothing compared to back then.
The current season, we're on season 6. We're on season 6. Even by the end of season 5, your lead female characters are so empowered. Joan and what's the girl that leads? Peggy. And Megan. Megan as well.
Megan has a lot of choices too.
You're right. The first few seasons, you see the struggles they go through, but they've put their feet in the ground and they've made their place, and they're doing really well. They still have struggles though. Joan is one of them that you sympathize with her because you care about her as a character. I care about her as a character, but she's not the most likable character, especially at work, because she's trying to assert herself to show her position.
There's dignity for the women characters. There's dignity in everything they do. And even Betty, who I detest, why Betty's doing what Betty's doing.
But you're about to get to some really good Betty stuff.
I heard.
Because you're getting caught up. This season has her arc, like at the beginning of the season 6, I was like, can she die in a car accident already or something? Like, can we just get rid of her?
She's just so sad.
She has come around. I love that character.
They say she's the hero of the show.
She is amazing. Yeah. And there's all kinds of conspiracy theories now about Mad Men and how it's going to end. So it's really interesting if you Google it.
I gaggle it.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other catch up you guys want to?
Sorry, we dominated.
What did I have?
Mad Men, the podcast.
I was going to talk about that I watched Fast 5, a 2-hour and 15-minute movie. I watched it in 30 minutes. I just fast forwarded through everything, and I kind of got the gist of what was going on. So
Fast cars.
Hot men.
Rock is chasing Vin Diesel. They become friends, and then they're back against against each other or whatever.
Is there a sex scene between them? I don't remember.
I thought there was.
Good old-fashioned deep dicking. Halfway through.
Over the boxers.
Deep dickin'. There's a phrase you don't hear very often.
I think Vin Diesel at one point said...
It's like Oliver Twist. Deep Dickens. Oh, wait, that's Dickens. Never mind.
A tale of 2 Dickens. That's my English accent.
Brenda, please save us from ourselves.
Okay, on to our topic for this episode is Hispanic Heritage Month. Drawing a blank. A little catch up for me. I haven't visited it yet. I just recently found out about it, but apparently we have a new theater here in Houston called Viva Cinema. It's in the Sharpstown area, and it only has, it looks like about 6 screens, but it looks like it plays a mixture of mainstream Spanish language films and a few indies. So I would go ahead and check that out. One thing I did want to bring up to you guys, a new show, I've been seeing ads for a new show called Devious Maids that is coming out on Lifetime.
Is that what Eva Longoria?
Eva Longoria, yeah, she's one of the producers as well. It looks like it has an awesome cast. It's Eva Longoria, Judy Reyes from Scrubs, I forget her name, but the older sister from Ugly Betty. Ana Ortiz, yes.
Isn't Susan Lucci in that?
I'm not sure.
Shows in it.
It has an awesome cast, and I think Lifetime does really
don't
good.
say quality.
They don't do quality. Lifetime does some good stuff sometimes.
No, they don't.
They do things a lot of people watch.
Yes, like the Black Steel Magnolias.
But my point and what I wanted to throw out to you guys is what's your perception of this whole thing? Because I'm of two minds. On one hand, I don't know, it could be just soapy fun. I mean, I don't know. The fact that it's all like the 5 main characters are female and it's female produced, that's kind of awesome. But half of me is I was a little offended seeing the ad for it, and I was just wondering, why maids? Obviously there is a big Hispanic population, especially females that are maids. And I even read some articles where Eva Longoria kind of defended it, saying, why isn't the story of the maid, do you not think it's worthy of being told? And I don't think it's that so much. It's just that, I don't know. It's just, I would like to see Latin women in a different light, in a different...
It's kind of that tale of, you have all these...
Rob and Brenda are Hispanics. This is very personal to me.
It's kind of the tale of, you have all these great actresses but there's only so many roles. There's only the grandmother, the mother, the daughter. And so you have them all vying for the same role. And with Hispanics, there's not that many. Even we're prepping for this episode, look at our options as far as Hispanic Americans that are in the film industry. And my thing with that show is I think Eva Longoria is maybe trying to sell it as more than what it might be, and I haven't seen it. So
none of us has seen it, but that hasn't stopped us in the past.
Based on
what we've heard,
based on the promos and the fact that it's Lifetime, if it's going to be a Hispanic version of Desperate Housewives, let them have it. Let them have fun with it. Why not? If it becomes a sensation and it allows these actresses to have success out of that, why not?
Well, it'd kind of be like, there's a new gay show coming to HBO with Jonathan Groff and some other young gay actors, and I'm not going to be offended if they sleep around. I don't think that's like a bad representation of gay people. It's pretty accurate. But at least we're in the, give me the word, we're visible. There's visibility.
Right.
And so I see what you're saying.
And part of that visibility is
the negative and the
positive.
The
negative and the positive. And I work in real estate and I work in property management, and I deal with a lot of Hispanic people in the service industry and painters and carpet installers. And the reality of the economy, especially in Texas, is that most of the people that do that work are Hispanic. And I deal with a lot of housekeepers, so the experience of being a maid is a reality for lots and lots of Latinas in the United States. And I can see where they're saying that is a point of view that is worthy of being looked at. And that's a population. It's not it is a stereotype, but that is the reality for a lot of people.
It depends on how they're going to handle that point of view. Yeah. But I think you look at a show like Ugly Betty. It was a predominantly Hispanic family, their point of view. And, you see, I don't know if everybody else saw Ugly Betty here, but too busy with their day laborers.
I got a point.
But
too busy with Days of Our Lives.
Better,
yes, let's go.
Better or worse than season 4 of Arrested Development?
Much better. But when you look at the show like Ugly Betty, on surface it seems completely campy and very just silly, but that family, I thought their dynamic and the morals of their stories were something that can be very easily relatable. So I'm hoping
even Betty's story,
the sister, everything they went through, the brother, the challenges the father had with immigration and all that stuff. The show was a lot deeper than people might have given it credit for.
I trust Eva Longoria just because I know she's a political activist, and I trust her to, if anyone was going to get it right, I trust her to get it right. I respect her a lot as a person, and I don't feel that she would be involved, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't feel she would be involved in a project that would exploit Hispanic women.
I see what you're saying, and I said, I do need to watch it, but from what I'm reading, it's like already there's a character apparently having an affair with her boss. There's one that's accused of...
But those are age-old stories that are still selling no matter what.
On Desperate Housewives too. My point of view is this, like kind of what Rob was saying, and I love how Rob always sees the economics of the situation, which is these Hispanic actresses have a job. One of my favorite Hispanic actresses won 6 Feet Under, and that was 10 years ago, and I barely see her. I don't remember her name. But anyways, so they have a job, and I feel like it's like when African Americans were protesting the help. I mean, these are roles for black women. These are great roles. They could be really great roles, or they're a paycheck for Hispanic actors, so let's not hurt the cause. Now, if it's offensive or you feel like it's not promoting.
And it might come out of the gate being completely campy, not being what we expect, but hopefully, you're.
But why does it always have to promote? I was caught myself when I was about to say this. Why does it always have to promote a positive image of Hispanics? I know that that's a weird question.
No.
A positive image of anybody. Like we were just talking about Mad Men. It's not really a positive image of men. Like it's like.
Right, and you could argue that Desperate Housewives is not a very positive image of women.
It's not so much
suburbanites.
that. For example, hopefully this isn't a huge spoiler for anybody who watches this. But the show.
Eddie's ugly.
The show is the show Scandal. The main character is kind of one of her nemesis, at least in the first season, because I've seen the first season. Used to be her mentor, and now kind of ends up being her nemesis. You find out later he's gay, and
we love playing villains.
He's in politics, so the fact that he kind of hides that is understandable. But what I liked about it, what I took from it, is that he's like this multi-layered character who just happens to be gay. I mean, you don't see him like at a bar the next, picking up a guy or anything like that, or doing anything stereotypical. So he is somebody who's a villain. He just has more depth to him, and it's how his character is portrayed. It's not even so much that these 5 characters are maids. Like I said, I do need to watch the show. It's just the fact that it's not a different story than what we've seen.
But that's how do I put this? It's not that I challenge that thought, because how often do we really see original content, especially in the world of TV? The world of TV, they recycle the same plots over and over, same things.
This is a remake from a Spanish soap opera.
So it's now that you said that about
I'll believe it.
Eva Longoria, I didn't realize she was a political activist. And if and I trust Jordan's opinion, and if he feels that.
You trust Eva.
Well, she worked on.
By default, I trust her.
She was Obama's liaison to the Hispanic community.
No, I mean, and I understand your point.
Brother. I'm into it. No, it's just one of those things where I think that we get too wrapped up in thinking a character should do this or be like this, or like Scandal's a really good example too. That's a black woman in a lead in a drama. It's the first time it's happened since the 70s, and she's an adulterer, and she does
and that's a show that
it's not a positive image of
it's not the most critically
women,
acclaimed show, but a critically acclaimed show, but it is rocking it with the ratings. It's doing so well, and they're just like,
and that's an image of a black woman out there. And I know you would say like, well, there's some negative things against her, but
as somebody who's seen the show, I don't think it's just like that straightforward. Like
she's having an affair with the president.
Yeah, I know. Like but it gives her multi layers, and her struggle with that. I mean, it's not just straightforward. She's having an affair. She's fine with it.
I think if your only qualm with this potentially produced show, let's see how it goes out. It can burn and crash like most,
just like Arrested Development,
like most Lifetime productions. But it might have the opportunity to.
Love Army Wives is on for like 7 years.
Oh, that's right.
Army Wives.
Yeah.
I know, it's a big Oklahoma
but
show.
let's watch it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, no. Like I said, I'm of two minds. I'm apprehensive of anything. I hope it's not. That's not the case. But
we really got deep into our Hispanic controversy.
Which is making people watch the show. Eva Longoria, you smart thing. Controversy, watch my show.
What
I'm the deceitful, sexy Latina.
What accent was that?
I don't know.
You were Laotian.
I'm Laotian. Laotian.
But you said our topic today is Hispanic
we're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, and Latinos or Hispanics in film.
We love Hispanics.
I'm a big fan.
Left and right.
On and off the screen.
In and out of the bedroom.
I'm always giving them a hand, aren't you?
I'm giving them a hand. I'm teaching them English.
You're sweet. Are you Rosetta?
Oh, Lord. Okay, we're off the rails.
No, we do. We celebrate Hispanics.
I celebrate Hispanics as often as possible.
We live in the most culturally diverse county in the United States.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
There's no majority in Houston.
And that's amazing. I think it really adds to what makes Houston really amazing and unique, and that we have.
Here goes a
That's
Houston
why it's so
episode.
hot, because it's such a melting pot.
I mean, look, we have a movie theater that's devoted to the Hispanic community. I mean,
I only go to
that's
Sundance.
how many cities have that in the United States. I mean, that's That's something about this city that's
Isn't it
really
San
amazing.
Antonio.
And I don't
San
want to.
Antonio.
I don't derail too much, but isn't there also a theater? It's Bollywood, strictly
Yep.
Yeah,
on Highway
where?
6.
on Highway 6.
Excuse me. Donde está?
El Highway 6.
No, it's not El Highway.
Oh, we need some Viagra for our microphone. Hi.
Hey, this is producer Dan, and technically, we had a difficulty. Back to the show.
That was the best.
Well, Rob, the reason they can't find work.
Galloping races. No, but what you said did remind me of. I recently went to Comic Palooza, which was held in Houston again. It's the third one, along with Galacticon, just for Battlestar Galactica fans. And it was amazing. No, I
Amazing.
I own it. I own that.
No,
nerd.
we all do.
You'd be a virgin.
Oh, it was so awesome. But one of the panels that I went to was, for people who don't know Battlestar Galactica, Edward James Olmos is one of the main characters.
Make a call. It affects the lives of thousands. And you have no one to turn to for backup. Well, you make it look easy. You know that's a lie now.
And he did a panel with Isai Morales.
And President Roslin, right?
And well, she was there too, but the first panel I went to with him, I went to two panels with him, and the one I went to, the first one was Latinos in film, and he talked a lot about that struggle of Latino actors only being offered Latino roles, and that his vision for Latino actors is to be able to have those roles offered that are not specifically for Latinos. It's not the farmhand or the maid or that those are written for a Hispanic role, a Hispanic actor.
Yeah, it was just written for anybody, and that just so happens a Hispanic actor or actress took the role. Yeah,
And he's aware of the fact that it's still not here, and it's something I think that African American actors are just beginning to get to, that this role could be Tom Cruise or Will Smith. It's not necessarily an African American actor needed for that role, but he did say it's also a double-edged sword, because you also want to see authentic portrayals of Latinos in film, and you want to see those stories. You want to see stories of Hispanic families and stories of immigrant families and Mexican history. You want to see those things and kind of have that parody of what you get to have, what white actors get to have and take for granted.
It's a catch-22, because you can't play if you're playing like the character who's race neutral, like Eva Mendes does that a lot. Just race neutral. I'm just the slutty girlfriend, or how I see her. But then if she's cast as a Hispanic,
You're a great casting director.
For real. With her acting, she's lucky I cast her at all. Or if you cast her in a strictly Hispanic maid role, then people are like, "Oh, she's playing the." I mean, you can't win. And I feel like black actors are the same. Like Viola Davis is the best black actress right now.
She's amazing.
She's amazing.
And
in The Help, they give her so much shit for playing that part. She played the shit out of that part.
And that was an authentic portrayal of what she was doing. And I think she's one of those actresses that I think is going to transcend race, where she's going to play roles that were not written for a black actress.
I'm sorry, but like if you look at her role in Doubt, she was on screen for 8 minutes, and she killed it.
Oh my gosh, she's incredible in everything that she does.
And I think, and I hate to always bring it back to other races, because I just don't, or other like minorities, because I just don't. I feel like if you're an actor, you're an actor for hire. You're being hired for something. Not to bring up Eva Mendes again, give her some publicity, but she's being hired for her looks.
Right.
And I had said, Julianne Moore was doing an interview where a casting director said to her, you're going to get cast for your looks, your hair, your freckles, and they'll either use it correctly or they won't. But you're being cast for that. And so I think some Hispanic actors are being cast because you're Hispanic.
Right.
But it doesn't mean the role's going to be Hispanic. So.
Right.
Yeah, and it seems like once an actor or actress kind of does find a niche, it seems like they're kind of stuck there for a while. Like if somebody, for example, like Michelle Rodriguez.
Your neck right now if I felt like it. I could kill you if I felt like it. Please. Mom begged. Did you stop when she said please? I can't remember. Stop it. You belong to me now. How does it feel to see so much of yourself so close? Huh? How does it feel?
Her first film was Girl Fight. She played this tough girl, doing something for herself.
She's played the same role.
Exactly.
In every film
I was like, it's awesome.
I don't think that's bad casting. I think that's her range. I don't think she could play anything else. I think that's all she can do. I don't think it's someone going, I'd really like to cast Michelle Rodriguez as the love interest. I think it's them going, she can't act. She can't do anything else.
She's butch. We need a butch Hispanic. Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah.
She is hot as shit.
So
On a side note, I would totally go straight for Michelle Rodriguez.
Michelle Rodriguez.
But only because I'm a bada.
She's not.
She's brutal.
Reportedly, she was with Vin Diesel, so she's a top.
And she likes dating gay guys. So there. I'm
Well,
in.
In thinking of this podcast, I was thinking of somebody like, for example, somebody like Gary Oldman's body of work. It's completely awesome. It's like no role is the same as the other. So, and I was really hard pressed to come up with. I couldn't come up with an actor and actress that was Latino or Hispanic.
Benicio.
Well, that's to an extent. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He's getting close, but it was hard to find a lot of more than one actor or actress who's had such a range like that, and that's kind of my whole point, and that's what I'd like to see more of. It's not so much that the characters are painted in a negative light. It's just more stories or something different, from movie to movie.
I mean, Salma Hayek has had that range. She played ugly in Frida and beautiful in Desperado. I mean, that's a range.
I know. She had like low cut shirts.
She's getting
She had
roles
high
because of
cut
her
shirts.
acting ability, I think.
And
her command of the English language.
She's funny in 30 Rock, but can I say, and I know that I'm very white ignorant about what the difference of Latino, Hispanic.
Oh, you had to go there.
I'm gonna go there. Sorry.
Sociologists haven't been able to figure it out. We're not going to settle it today.
I've heard so many arguments about it, so I don't care. But I will say that there's a lot of Spanish actors who are not Hispanic or Latino. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyways, they speak Spanish. So there's a lot of people with a lot of range, like Javier Bardem. We can't bring that because he's not Mexican. He's Spanish. Penelope Cruz has fantastic range. There's those type of people that, especially those two, who really just knock it out of the park and have done everything you can think of. They've won Oscars. I mean,
we brought up Raul Julia, and I think Raul Julia is an actor who you look at his body of work.
Yeah.
What work he's done aside from Street Fighter, that was amazing.
But I do see what Brenda's saying, where if you look at like a lot of minority actors, there's like that one where you're like, oh, they made it. Like they did a good job. Like Denzel Washington. And for Hispanic, I would say Javier Bardem, not Hispanic.
Yeah.
But you do get to see that more with like foreign-born Hispanic or Latina actors.
I wonder why that is.
They also, I think, like somebody like Gael Garcia Bernal, he's a Mexican actor, but I've seen him in like a film in Chile or a film in Spain, just where they adapt. For here, it's almost like we have less options.
He was in a French film, a Michel Gondry film.
There you go.
Science of Sleep.
Adorable, 5'3".
I think you guys kind of just came together with the same. You guys came together with the kind of Same point is that you use Gary Oldman as an example. Look at his body of work, but Gary Oldman is an actor who has often stepped outside the Hollywood machine and made a lot of films that are independently financed, foreignly financed, and as Hispanic actors, Gael Garcia Bernal is the perfect example. Someone who has stepped outside just like that and has said, you know what, I'm not getting the roles that I want, both in my country or in America. I'm gonna seek those roles out wherever I can. So
that's a good point.
He's gotten there.
Gotten
that
out
way.
of his comfort zone, essentially.
It's not the comfort zone. Is he wants to be challenged, and he's seen that you're an actor like Michael Pena, who just now is making it big. With End of Watch, Crash. This is an actor who has been struggling as a character actor for so long, but he hadn't reached that point until now. But even then, he's still struggling to get. He hasn't reached a lead actor role at all.
In World Trade Center, wasn't he the co-lead?
He was a co-lead in that one.
But he's always playing Hispanic.
Yeah. And you brought up Benicio del Toro, and he has had different roles, but if you think of it like more often than not, he plays kind of like a villain or a baddie.
No, he's sexy. 21 grams? What?
Things We Lost in the Fire.
But like I'm thinking like Way of the Gun,
Oh,
The Usual Suspects.
The Way of the Gun is hilarious.
Yeah, just
Where
took
they
that from
I love that
Sarah
movie.
Silverman in the first scene.
But I think Benicio del Toro has the same appeal as Julianne Moore. They have this unique look about them.
Yeah.
They have this intensity. They have this method to their style that is different than what Tom Cruise, Denzel Washington's able to bring to that
And
table.
even someone like Julianne Moore gets she plays vulnerable women very well. I feel like depressed women, sad redheaded women.
We were just saying this, not to get off topic, but real quick. Earlier we were talking about Naomi Watts. I think she's fantastic, but she only can play intense. She doesn't know how to play anything but intense.
She can't play small.
No, and I think you're right. And maybe Rob kind of get onto something. It might not be a problem with the industry, which don't get me wrong, there is a problem with the industry, but it might be a problem with just people's range. And I cannot believe I'm bringing this name up again, but Eva Mendes.
Go to Greta Gerwig. There's your range.
She went to France and did Holy Motors. And that's amazing. Like, do something different. Kristen Scott Thompson's example of an English actress who knew French said, "I'm going to work in France."
Right.
Like let's go.
And also too, I think there's a generational difference too, because you look at someone like Gary Oldman, older actors. They come from an experience where there was a training, there was a craft. And now you're seeing a lot of actors who, and it's just maybe because of the kind of media that we have now, is that you can become famous and do a lot of the same kinds of roles without having some kind of background. And you see people get typecast so quickly. Like Melissa McCarthy is a really good example. Rebel Wilson. You see these people do really well in one thing, and then suddenly they're so typecast, and they do 6 projects that are exactly the same.
If we're counting Joaquin Phoenix as Hispanic, then that boy's got some range, and he's worked for it. But are we counting him as Hispanic?
But the thing is, you notice that he doesn't. There's not a role I can remember where he plays Hispanic.
Good.
So it's almost like, you can find it just if maybe not in Latino roles or Hispanic roles.
But
well, don't whitewash him, but
but I want to bring that point up right there, the Desi Arnaz, that you have actors like that that role's not there for them. They make it. They create it. And Eva Longoria,
that was groundbreaking, and then you don't even see something like that now that much.
Talking about what's that show, Devious Maids, Eva Longoria's show, that I wasn't seeing something out there that was Hispanic driven, even if it's something that might be generic or even if it's a topic that might seem, most people wouldn't care about. She created that role, and she brought in all these people, and she's giving them jobs. And you look at the people that I had on my list. Robert Rodriguez is a writer-director who I have a lot of respect for him. I think he is someone who's genius in the way he's as a filmmaker. He casts his films, he casts his actors, and knows how to use them. Versus, you have directors that just don't know what to do with what's going on in their films.
I think another thing I love about him, it seems like he has fun with it. Whether it's a dramatic movie or a comedy or just something very campy, it always seems like he's enjoying it.
I think
it comes across.
As a whole, and you guys might agree with this, as a whole in our country, minority roles are just so hard. You brought up the example of The Help. We're talking about Hispanic actors. Mm-hmm. For every one role, you have dozens of actors trying to get that role. And Isai Morales. What's the other one that I always mistake Isai Morales for?
Lou Diamond Phillips.
No. There's another one.
Don't even know.
Let's interrupt Rob's train of thought.
No, they made those 2 little small gay films that were identical, La Misión and Gun Hill Road.
Antonio Sabato Jr.
Benjamin Bratt.
How do you mistake him for Isai Morales?
Yeah,
Bratt
is.
I would do all of them.
I get those
that's
two.
What they all have in
love
common.
Benjamin
But
Bratt.
I feel like if you haven't seen, I feel like you can't really make an informed opinion about the subject until you've seen From Prada to Nada.
I apparently have nothing to say then.
Going through. That's what's happening.
Well, you know what's
Nada.
interesting? Edward James Olmos made a point during the panel. Something that he brought up is that Hispanics constitute the largest movie-going audience in the United States.
No.
They do.
They are 60% or something. That's some huge number. 60%
We'll get them
of the
a Tyler
people.
Perry movie house.
And worldwide, more television viewers are watching television in Spanish than in any other
Wow.
language. And that is a huge market. And you're seeing that bleed into the United States and into the American culture. And I think the next 10 years is going to be a lot of game-changing things.
I wonder what, you know how they have that report, I don't know who does it, but they know like what kind of people watch what kind of shows. Like they were saying the number one show Republicans watch is like Modern Family. I wonder what, and it's crazy, I know, and 30 Rock was like for Democrats. I wonder what the number one show is for Hispanics. Like I wonder what the top 10 would be for Hispanics.
Well, going back to a point you just made, and going with my own experience, my dad's from Peru. He immigrated to the United States in the 70s, like right out of high school. In Peru and a lot of Latin American countries, just with a lot of arts, the movies is kind of like a great equalizer. Like the parent, of course, like the seating was differently depending on the price, but poor or rich, everybody went to the to the movies, and that's almost, I would dare to say, the same case here. Mm-hmm. And it's not to say like now we're discussing all these roles in the media for Hispanics, and it's we have made great strides. I'll definitely recognize that. When my dad got here, he says he'll be quick to point out like there was a Ritz cracker commercial, with a Latin song in the background, stuff like that still kind of amazes him, because he says when I got here there was nothing like that. We were invisible, and now we're the biggest minority in the United States.
And that controversy over that stupid Cheerios commercial with the mixed race little girl.
That's.
I mean, 2013, we're still.
Or
we're still so far behind.
Or that boy that sang the national
anthem, the Mexican American boy.
I'm so ashamed of my people, my white people.
Well,
what the hell?
let's just. My point was going to be so divisive. Let's just. I think, and that's as we have this conversation, we've brought up so many other minorities, because being in the city that we're in with such diversity, I think we have an openness. I had a new manager who came from the Midwest. And I was talking to a UPS driver, and I said something like, is that the white guy that comes by in the afternoon? And he's a black guy, and he says, yeah, he comes by in the afternoon. My boss, the other manager, looked at me, and he goes, why did you say that? I'm like, well, he's a white guy, and he comes by in the afternoon. And he goes, you don't say that. I'm like, I didn't know. Like, because we live
we have such a sensibility that we are a melting pot.
Yes.
Well, even that, going back to my dad, he says, back then in the 70s, like nobody would say stuff like that because it was more like taboo, or nobody wanted to offend somebody. Now you say, oh yeah, like the black guy that comes in the afternoon. Well, and it's nothing bad. It's just and it's maybe not the only way to identify him by, but it's it's not it's nothing. We're not being racist. We're just saying the fact that it's not taboo now. Yeah, exactly.
My hope is because of the place we live in that we are able to maintain. We're not minorities in the way that in our dignity is not a minority, but I hope that we can maintain our culture and still be all the same. Does that make sense? Like I don't.
I'll march behind that.
I don't
want
Hispanics to think like, oh, we're the minority. Maintain your culture and be yourself, and that's it. Because I feel like sometimes minorities are already always trying to trample each other to be the top minority. I
think, and just to wrap up. Unless anybody had another point they'd like to make. Just to wrap up, I mean, we have made terrific strides, and I think that's one of the important things about this month is, because you do sadly see sometimes people, children of immigrants come to this country, and in order to assimilate, they completely lose their culture. And I was fortunate enough to grow up in a bilingual household, and I have my American side and I have my Hispanic side, and I think both of them equally make up a part of me. So that's the great thing about this month, and that's why we wanted to celebrate it. Woo! So thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. Oh, don't forget to check out our Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Movies the Podcast, all one word.
Bye.
Bye.
Adios.
Well, they reacted differently, but that it's not what my experience is of myself as an actor. I mean, the world, yes, reacted differently.
After the Addams Family.
After the Addams Family, and I'm more
said,
bankable.
Get me Raul Julia now.
Yes, now.
He brings them in the theater.
Exactly. It's one of those things. It's like, I don't know, maybe you hit the lottery or something, but that doesn't mean that your life has My life has been going on fine before and after the Addams Family.
I'm completely touching myself right now.
So what have you guys been up to besides touching yourself?
Is there anything else?
What else does one need?
I go to work and touch myself.
I was recently sick myself. I had
For touching yourself?
walking pneumonia because I'm like that.
Did you get it from Brenda?
I didn't. I got it from not taking care of myself. But the good thing about being sick is that you get to watch a lot of Netflix. So I was able to really kind of go through a lot of movies that I've been wanting to see. I watched 2 coming-of-age films. One is a Belgian film called North Sea, Texas, which was bleak yet beautiful. And the other was Submarine, which is a Welsh film.
I like that movie.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, and it's directed by Richard.
Ayoade.
Thank you. Who I love. And
Fact check.
it was really quirky and fun. Of the 2, I liked Submarine better. I think it's interesting in European films, you can't tell what year it's taking place because
We talked about this that night.
all the boys have shaggy hair like they do now and in 1982. And everyone's house looks like IKEA, so I don't know. Is it vintage or is it
Was it
retro?
a retro movie?
I remember. I think it takes place in 1960 or in the 60s.
Well, Submarine takes place in 86.
I believed what I was given, and that was kind of interesting.
But even that, I was kind of the same way with that film. I bought it as the story was being told. When he gave you that alternate reality of it was these people represented this, it could have gone either way for me. For me, the story of the struggle that character went through, the time that he spent with Richard Parker, I think I took it on the surface the way you sold it. To me, it was about closure. That's what the movie was for me. It was, you had when he lost his family and when Richard Parker finally got off the beach. It's just he had these life-changing moments that happened to him, and he didn't get the chance to have closure to either of those. That's what I took away from it. It wasn't religious or faith for me. It was just.
But his family didn't drown. I mean, you're led to believe his mom was in the boat.
Mm.
Is this a spoiler alert moment?
Yeah, because some of us haven't seen it.
Well, not really.
Can we make a note that I put an edit right there and say spoiler alert? Just
No.
Spoil it.
Please.
In the crying game, it's a man.
Dumbledore dies.
It made
It's
over,
Kevin Spacey all along.
It made over. He's my lover. It made
He
over
was a
200,
ghost the whole
300
time.
million. People have seen it, but it was beautiful. Ang Lee totally deserved.
Yo quiero pedir que mi negra me quiera, que tenga dinero y que no se muera. Ah, yo le quiero pedir a Babalu, una negra bembona como tú, que no tenga flor negro, ah, que no se muera. ¡Ea! ¡Caballo! ¡Suave!
And that was a clip of Desi Arnaz, famously or most known for being the husband in I Love Lucy.
To that fiery redhead.
This is Movies, a podcast. This is Brenda.
Rob.
Curtis.
And Jordan.
I'm back after a little break. I was a little sicky poo, so I hope you guys didn't miss me too much.
Deathbed.
Oh, we missed you, Brenda.
We did miss you.
I missed you guys too. I went through withdrawal.
Aw.
Jenny did a great job though when she was
I know
here.
that was another reason I was so bummed. You know, I love Jenny, and it was our first guest, and I was like, I can't believe I'm missing this, but I was dying.
I suggested we set you up in a corner, but you didn't want to do it.
I would have been like, I love it. You know, like it wouldn't have been sexy at all.
Yes.
You know, our podcast is all about sexy.
We're known for our sex.
People are at home
We're setting a
touching
standard.
themselves inappropriately.
To our
thinking about
soothing
us.
voices.
Just as we are as we record.
I'm funnier than Arrested
Dan lied
Development.
to us last podcast and said the show gets better.
It does not.
It exceedingly gets worse.
I think you just get used to it, like the way that people in concentration camps could write poetry. Like you adjust to where you are.
I've had relationships like that.
I had Stockholm syndrome with Arrested Development.
It's not good.
Well, Dan, with your advice, I haven't gotten to the point where it connects, but it's just it's really boring, the show.
I would literally be bored on my break, and I'm like, I guess I'll watch Arrested Development, and I'd be falling asleep. I'm like, it's not fun. funny.
Mm-mm.
So I instead decided to watch Life of Pi, which I'd never seen.
Oh, what'd you think?
That's a real picker-upper.
I know. I feel like I'm missing a piece because it didn't connect with me.
Did you make a pun?
A piece of the pie. I'm so smart.
I like even do it accidentally.
I like how we had to piece it back to peace pie.
Piece my mind. Yeah, it's beautiful to look at, but I mean, because I'm religious or emotionally retarded, when I got to the end and he's like, it could have been real, it could have been fake. And I said, what the Is it real? Is it fake? It didn't dawn on me the movie is about faith, which I have little to none. And so...
Okay.
Which I had to look up. I couldn't figure it out the entire time. Because all European cars look like 1979 Yugos.
Right.
And then... North Sea, Texas, I still have no idea what year it took place. No one had a cell phone, so I'm just going to assume 1974.
2002.
Or 2002. Who knows?
Well, that's how I felt when I watched Perks of Being a Wallflower. It didn't dawn on me till the end of the movie that was set in the 80s.
Yeah, it was like
Is it
91.
80s or 90s? 90s.
It was like 91.
Yeah.
The book is set in 91.
Yeah, none of that hit me until the
It
end
was
of the
in
film.
1897.
I don't know if anybody noticed, but Dan didn't introduce himself.
Dan's not here today.
Oh, is this Pablo?
That is yes, that is my friend from Colombia.
He went to Colombia?
And now he's back.
Hey, really quick. Hi, this is Dan. Can you talk into that mic one more time?
Yes.
No, me?
Just one more time?
Me?
Huh. That is
I'm talking into the
I'm just going to bring this show to a complete stop. Hi, guys. How you doing? You weren't being picked up on the mic. I'm sorry about that.
I'm sorry. I'll get closer to
Can't get picked up anywhere in a
us to
bar
start
or
over?
a mic. What the fuck?
I get picked up plenty, mother.
At the corner store.
Don't worry
From the
about
methadone clinic.
Yeah.
From your Method 1 acting class.
it. If that show were funny, then that never
That's true.
Yeah.